Hi friends, I'm Pastor Diana. Welcome to a daily devotion. I'm so glad you've chosen to spend a few moments with God, especially as we are continuing our journey of following the footsteps of God, of Jesus, as we are considering what it might be to go to the Holy Land in 2023. Now, I've got to tell you, I'm kind of excited about this trip, and my fingers are crossed that I'll be able to go because I have never been there. But just by not being there doesn't mean that I can't learn and be a part of this kingdom that Jesus proclaimed to us. And so today we're going to continue our journey through the Beatitudes, which is kind of the catchphrase of these ways of being. Now, sometimes we think that these ways of being are about emotions or feelings or the things we have to do X and then we get this. But that is not what Jesus is saying in these Beatitudes. In fact, Jesus is telling us about what it means to be a part of this Christian community and what it means to be a follower of God and to orient our lives towards God. So the action we are called to take are to do the things that orient us towards God. And these other things, then we will become a part of this and we will take on this attribute of being, and then God's work will help show us this part of God's kingdom, if that's making any sense whatsoever, if you're following my train of thought. So today I want to read two more Beatitudes about what it means when we orient our lives towards God and then we are able to be a part of God's kingdom. And so Chapter 5, verses 6 and 7. Let me read from the New Revised Standard Version. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Now, we do think that maybe these are things where if we do X, we get this. But that's not the case. These are things that when we orient ourselves towards God, we end up experiencing them because this is what God's kingdom is like. God's kingdom is a place of righteousness and of mercy. And so when we take actions that orient ourselves towards God, then we are a part of that kingdom. And God's kingdom is in God's control, and that's already there. And so when we talk about hunger and thirst for righteousness, what are we talking about? Well, we're really talking about justice. Those who desire justice. And when you desire justice, you will be filled. And by desiring justice, that means we want to be a part of God's kingdom, which is just. We want to be a part of God's kingdom, which is merciful. And so we are called to engage ourselves to orient ourselves towards God by doing those things, those actions of justice and acts of mercy. Remember that Micah 6:8 saying, "What does the Lord require of you but to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God?" That is what Jesus is talking about here, is that when we do acts of justice, when we give and do acts of mercy, then we are participating and building God's kingdom. We are proclaiming God's kingdom, and we get to experience and be filled with God and know God's mercy ourselves because we are orienting and living a life centered on God. So today, what act of justice, of act of mercy can you do? Perhaps it is praying for somebody else. Perhaps it is donating. Perhaps it is signing a petition in a cause that is close to your heart. But we can all do things that are concrete acts of justice and mercy, not because we receive anything in return, but because we are orienting ourselves towards God, and that is what God's kingdom looks like. And so imagine with me, imagine God's kingdom where there is justice and mercy overflowing in this world. That is an upside down kingdom. And that is a kingdom that I want to be a part of. How about you? Have a blessed